Mhm. Okay.
So, hello everyone. As we are beginning our podcast to show what actually Aam Aadmi Party is, we have in front of us Abhishek Dutt sir, who is one of the most educated leaders I have come across in my political campaigning career. So, I'm Naman Munod. I'm a graduate from BITS Pilani and then did my master thesis from IIT Delhi. And currently, I am doing a PhD in political communications from one of the finest management colleges of India. And I have handled 5 state elections. I have an experience of 5 state elections working with different political parties. And that made me realize about the ground realities of what the actual situation, actual dynamics is. So here we have in this podcast, we are trying to expose what the actual ground reality is, which is totally different from what media shows us. So today we have Abhishek Dutt sir, who is the national spokesperson for Indian
Please call
National.
me. Please remove sir. You can call me Abhishek.
Okay, so we have Abhishek, as we can see how careful and how caring he is for the youth, and that's what I really like about him. So we have Abhishek, who is the national spokesperson for Indian National Congress and also the vice president for the Delhi Congress. And to inform more about him, he got the highest percentage in Congress when he was fighting his elections in 2020, the recent elections in 2020. And today, the topic of discussion is more about how media is used by Aam Aadmi Party to delude, to decept the audience in Delhi. So, Abhishek sir, what do you think about Aam Aadmi Party in general to start with? Because that is going to be the center of the conversation. It's all about Aam Aadmi Party because a lot of educated youth, especially from BITS, IITs, even doing engineering colleges, management colleges, think that Aam Aadmi Party is actually a party that is for the youth, doing an idealistic transformation, good governance. That is what people see it as. But when I entered the Delhi elections, I worked for a couple of Aam Aadmi leaders for their strategy, and I found the reality to be different, very different than what is shown on media, what is shown on TV. So we'd like to start with the conversation with you and tell us about your experience with the party as you are one of the biggest opposition leaders when it comes to MCD elections, when it comes to Delhi elections. So yes, sir, over to you.
First of all, Naman, congratulations. For a new thought that you've got. I think in today's democracy, it is very important to have discussions where we speak our mind and we also tell the real side of the story. Aam Aadmi Party came in more like a revolution. And I think in 2012, 2013, when that whole movement started of India against corruption, a lot of people across the country and even outside, they thought these are the bunch of people who are actually talking sense and our country needs it. But this whole campaign of India against corruption was more of India against Congress. Because when Mr. Kejriwal, along with his entire teammate who are now in the BJP holding very high offices, they all started, they never spoke about other political parties. They were very, very limited and focused to Congress. They never talk about Yediyurappa, they never talk about Chotala, they never talked about any other political parties. But at that time, no one was even thinking on those lines. So when Arvind Kejriwal ji came into actual limelight, he was working before that also RTI, he was a big RTI activist. And at that time, Congress was the only political party who actually thought that, it's time to get RTI into our country and people should have access to each and every file. When they all started this movement in 2012, I used to meet a lot of people. I was 32 at that time. I just contested my first municipal election. And a lot of youngsters, friends of ours, people known to us, saying in our constituency, used to go to Jantar Mandir evening, and they were all part of that whole campaign. But no one actually thought that campaign is a start-off to fight with the Congress and eventually create a political party. Anna Hazare, after the Congress elections are over, the central government elections are over, he never came back on focus. He never spoke about farmers. He never spoke about demonetization. He never talked about Rafale. All the issues which are actually concerning the people of our country. Anna Hazare has been he's been quite over it. Similarly, Kejriwal has got a Mr. Kejriwal has got a very fixed image. He only hits Modi ji at their convenience. This entire Pegasus, this entire scam of phone tapping, there's not a single statement against him. He'll only speak when it suits them politically. So when Kejriwal ji started in 2012, his entire demand was Lokpal. His entire demand was, involving more people into the system. Swaraj Bill was a very major issue. And he actually said, in case he can't get Lokpal, he will not be in politics. I remember his interview with NDTV, where we very clearly said, and I quote, कि हम मुख्यमंत्री बनने थोड़ी आए हैं, हम तो लोकपाल के लिए आए हैं, और लोकपाल नहीं आएगा तो रिजाइन कर देंगे. I think it's been more than 8 years of him being in power. He never speaks about Lokpal. So a chief minister who came in with Lokpal and Swaraj Bill and had to fight his next election on free Bijli Pani. So the entire perception completely changed. And I'll give you a small example what you started about media. Media is supposed to be the fourth pillar of Indian democracy. We expect media to play its role. In case we are wrong, we are wrong. In case we are right, we are right. But it can't be manipulative media. It has to be media which exposes. And if you look at the history of media, media has always been on the other side of the government. They are more like shadow ministers. They will try and expose the government. They will try and talk about the promises made by the government. And they will try and play a role where the government is in pressure. The moment they start exposing them, obviously the government starts working. But for the last 6 years, after Mr. Arvind Kejriwal had increased the advertisement budget from 28 crores a year to 500 crore rupees a year, that is the time when things have completely changed. He's paying heavy bills to all these top media houses. Every second ad in the newspaper is Arvind Kejriwalji's. Every signage on the road is Arvind Kejriwalji. Every advertisement on TV is Arvind Kejriwalji. The moment you open Google, the moment you go to Facebook, everything is Arvind Kejriwal. And in a way, it's not good. It's not good because a chief minister has to be focused on work. The work should speak for him, not full page advertisement. If you are working every day, automatically newspaper will carry good stories about your work. But when you have to sell yourself through paid ad, it means there's something wrong. Yes, he's been able to create a perception because of which he won in the last 2 or 3 elections. But the reality is very different today. It's raining in Delhi for the last 3-4 days. Every second street is choked. His own constituency, people can't drive. Look at the mess it has created in the entire city. I'm getting videos every 5 minutes of people struggling to get out of their houses. So, when your reality, but the moment you see a newspaper, you see a big photograph of Arvind Kejriwal. And obviously, when you're paying any of these agencies 10 crore rupees a month, why would they write against you? They'll have no reason to write because you're literally paying for their salaries. So that's how you manage media. And media starts creating a perception. And you take that perception to the voters. And yes, they say, yes, Arvind Kejriwal is doing very well. All his promises, realistic promises, he's never talked about them. He's a person who talked about politics in a different style. He said, I will not take any big bungalow. He's taken a 2-acre big house. He said, I will not take security. He's got more than 20 policemen around him all the time. He said, I will not take a salary more than 25,000 rupees. The guy is getting more than 150,000 every month. That is just his cash in hand. Plus is all the perks. So a person who talked about a new style of politics is actually taking all the privileges of being a chief minister. But what is the common man getting in Delhi today? Nothing. It's only and only promises. And free Bijli Pani is his mandate that has got him into election. It is not Swaraj Bill or Lokpal because of which he came into light.
So, chronologically going, I would like to start with the India against corruption movement, which is definitely, like you said, India against Congress movement. So what happened that time? What do you think was the thing that was shown on the TV, which was shown to the public, to the youth, and what actual reality was?
See, Naman, if tomorrow I get onto the street with 10,000 people and I start saying Arvind Kejriwal is doing scam every day, and I sit on Jantar Mantar, people will start believing. All the accusations against Chief Minister late Sheila Dikshit ji, no FIR was registered. all the accusations he made against all the other politicians. Not even a single case has been registered. So what were those allegations? He had the guts to paint Sheila Dikshitji's face black. He had the guts to do that. He used to call it a weak chief minister. And when it comes to rape in the capital, he comes and says it's under Delhi police.
When in
He's
fact,
completely switched over his role.
right. When in fact Sheila Dikshit was the most capable chief minister India has ever had in terms of infrastructure, in terms of development.
Looking at the way she was treated electorally at the end, people like us really feel scared being in politics. A lady who changed the entire image of Delhi, made it into a green capital with metros, buses, flyovers, hospitals, schools, everything. And the biggest thing she did for Delhi is respect. There were no riots in Delhi, not even once. She took everyone together and she didn't do petty politics. And the sad part is she lost back-to-back elections.
So
that is why at times as a politician, you feel you need to sell yourself through marketing or do you need to sell yourself through work?
I would like
question mark, should I work?
Ask the Indian audience. So recently, lately, like we have seen in the Bengal elections, there has been a lot of feministic angle that how a woman was actually has been targeted by a group of males who are from the other party. So that is one question which I want to ask the public, that when Sheila Dikshit ji was going through such horrible time, when she, who was a chief minister that actually developed Delhi to one of the best cities, I would want all of the audience to see Bengal and see Delhi. Delhi looks 10 times better, and that's because of that woman. When she was subjected, when a woman was subjected to such harsh words, harsh comments, harsh kind of like how could an old lady be treated by a youngster who calls himself a revolutionary, that hum to andolan karne aaye ji, and that women was treated such horribly. And even if you go back in the time and you see that she was one of the best chief minister. What about the metro? Metro was started in Bengal first initially, then Delhi, and now the metro in Delhi is the only existing metro that functions. So why didn't people see the feministic angle there, sir? When it was Sheila Dikshit ji who was going through such tough times, when the bunch of revolutionary came and targeted her.
See, Nama, I'll tell you something very interesting. When Sheila ji was the chief minister of Delhi during her first regime, Atal Bihari Vajpayee was the prime minister. Late Atal Bihari Vajpayee was the prime minister of our country. Never ever there was any statement by Sheila ji saying the prime minister is not letting me work. And the beauty of that, her being the chief minister, is when she went in for elections again, she came with a bigger margin and with a bigger vote percentage because she knew how to work. She could take everyone together and give results. She changed Delhi, the perception of Delhi. If you look at the per capita income, it went up. If you look at the metro expansion, it went up. If you look at the number of hospitals, everywhere where she worked, she had a vision for Delhi. But the only thing that she couldn't do, and what Kejriwal has done, she was spending merely 26 crore rupees on advertisement. If today, I guarantee you, any newspaper dares to write against the chief minister, they stop giving ads. I have friends who are very, very bright journalists who are really, really sad these days. They said, Abhishek, the moment we start writing against the Delhi government, our editor drops our stories. There is so much of pressure from the media, from the commercial unit. During lockdown, Delhi suffered. People have died on road because of no oxygen supply, no beds, no infrastructure, no ambulances available, no space in cremation guards available. It was only social media and some friends on the media who had the courage to expose. Where was the chief minister? He was not visible. Where was Manish Sisodia? He was not visible. And all the ministers were going to Max Hospital for their treatment. And they are talking about Delhi government hospital being world class. When your minister or when your chief minister's wife is not trusting Delhi government hospital, how do you expect a common man to trust these hospitals?
and
Satyendra
then
Jain.
yes, and then I see a very beautiful plate of we are serving 5-star food in our hospitals, and the actual reality was totally different, which was shared by people on social media.
Naman, this is where I hope at some time the courts intervene. There has to be a limit on spending ads money. People don't have water to drink today. There's no public transportation. Today, people are literally, there's no per capita income. People don't have any money. There's major unemployment. These crores of taxpayers' money, which is being used on frivolous advertisement. कि मास्क लगाया क्या या 2 गज की दूरी मास्क है जरूरी and you spend 100 crore rupees on it. Today the ad is Delhi bole medal jeet ke aana. अरे भाई, the India wants, we all want them to win. You rather spend that money on sports academies. You rather spend that money on providing better equipment to our sports students. You're spending crores of rupees on advertisement. Why this money is not used in a sports industry which is still on papers? A sports university passed during Sheila Dikshit ji's regime till today is only on papers. Why can't you spend this 100 crore not on advertisement but on the sports universities? Why can't you give scholarship to all these players? But for you, advertisement is important and you're giving them. So this is what pinches. You see a big hoarding of Kejriwal and you see waterlogging. You see big ambulances, but a common man can't get it. There's no metro expansion. Yeah.
So to the audience, sir, I would like to reflect on the point that yes, we agree that every government campaigns, whether that be BJP government, Congress government, this Aam Aadmi government, TMC government, but what I personally feel against is a propaganda of showing the governance as idealistic when in fact it is not, when it is not doing the work, when it is actually showing something which is not the reality. So I would like Abhishek sir to expand more on this point on what is the actual reality on the ground when it comes to Delhi and what is shown on the TV or what is shown on the posters.
The reality is Delhi needs 15,000 buses. In the last 7 years, Arvind Kejriwal has not even purchased a single bus. Reality is all the flyovers that were sanctioned during Sheila ji's regime that she had inaugurated, he's the one who's cut the final ribbon. No new hospital has been opened under Arvind Kejriwal. The only thing that he's done is he's rebuilt schools. He hasn't opened new schools. Old school buildings have been knocked off and new buildings have been constructed. But level of education has come down. Secondly, after, in case as a student you don't do well in class 9, just to control your class 10th board, you're forced to open school so that your class 10th board result looks good. But if you look at the result today, our CBSE results are bad. They're not good. Delhi government class 12 results are not good. But he will not waste an opportunity to give a full page ad. You're not investing online classes. Not even a single student in these government schools have been provided with smartphones. He's spending crores on advertisement. All the online classes in government school, including municipal corporation, kids can't afford mobile phones. Their families, if they have 2 kids at home, they don't have 2 smartphones. So eventually one child is always without not attending the class. He should rather use his money in providing smartphones to these students so that they can study at home. But your advertisement is good. Your cover of the building might be good, but where your infrastructure, where your education is concerned, the standards are really bad. So Naman, if I ask you, would you prefer giving smartphones to the student or would you prefer giving full page ads in the newspaper? What would you prefer?
So as a leader, I would want to definitely use ads for awareness, but definitely if it is compromising with the development, then that becomes a problem.
Naman, the problem today is leadership is not about perception. Leadership is about governance. If you have to spend crores of rupees in a PR campaign where a student in a government school can't get a simple phone, it's not a good thing for our city. I'm not saying that Congress governments have actually given smartphones. They've tried their best. but their chief minister is not spending crores of rupees on advertisement. Their focus is very clear. Like Rajasthan during lockdown made 28 oxygen plants. 28 without central government support. Delhi government could make a single one. So this is where this is where you talk about priorities. Ashok Gehlotji's government could have easily spent those 1,000 crore rupees on advertisement, but they focused on oxygen. They focused on storage of oxygen. That's why in Rajasthan people didn't die because of lack of oxygen, and in Delhi people died because of lack of oxygen,
So
because they had no control.
That reminds me about the drinking water, sir. The drinking water in Delhi. So when I was actually campaigning or strategizing for these Aam Aadmi Party leaders, I remember one of the major problems was the drinking water was not clean. And the next week I see Z News, I don't know what all media channels, they just bombarded with ads about water plants. That see, we are building this water plant, we are building that water plant. So has the drinking water condition, when they talk about the basic amenities, has the drinking water condition improved, or has the what is the actual reality?
See, it's a very interesting question. Delhi's got a demand of 1380 mgt water every day. That is what Delhi needs as a state. Till Sheilaji's time, we used to get 905 mgt of water. In last 7 years, the chief minister has only increased it by 6 mgt. That means Delhi today is getting 911 mgt of water. All the balance water is being supplied through water tankers. And Kejriwalji in 2012 in his manifesto said water tankers will be over. This mafia that controls water tanker will be abolished. Every house will have a legal water connection. There is no legal water connection in Delhi. The tanker mafia has expanded the way Kejriwalji has expanded in terms of his profile, his cars, his houses, his salaries. The tanker mafia has simultaneously expanded in the same way. Today, if you look at the report, Delhi people are saving less on clean water and spending more on medicines because of the diseases which are coming through the water supply of Delhi government. Even in slums, people are buying water. The water quality is really bad. There is an NGO called NGO called Praja. If you look at the report by Praja, maximum waterborne diseases due to bad supply of water are in Delhi. Delhiites are really, every house is ordering water. They're not using the tap water. They're literally ordering water, right from slums to houses. So I fail to understand what has Kejriwalji done. In 2018, he made a very big announcement that ammonia plant is being installed in Yamuna. Ammonia water issue will be resolved in Delhi. Till today, every week, there's an ad in the newspaper saying due to rise of ammonia, there'll be no water supply in certain parts of Delhi. So whatever promises he made in 2012 and for the 2013 election, he's done nothing. His 70-point program that he said he will be focusing on, where is it? He never talked about free water in 2013. But yes, when he couldn't get Swaraj bill, when he couldn't get Lokpal, he very smartly changed the narrative to free Bijli and water, because which people are suffering today. And let me tell you, he's spending approximately a very, very nominal 400 crore amount water. His budget is 70,000 crore. He's spending merely 400 crores, which is nothing.
That brings me to a very good angle, sir, that how the Aam Aadmi Party has deceived the poorest of the people, the people who were there in the juggies and jhopdis. And I remember, I wouldn't name the candidate though, but I was in their constituency. People did not even know the name of the candidate, that who they are, what they have done. They have never even come to our, they have never even visited us even once in 5 years. But all they wanted to vote about was on Kejriwal. So how they have shifted the narrative from the incapable candidates, and I'm not ashamed when I'm saying this word incapable, because that's the actual reality. So how they have changed the narrative to a one single person, and then making him as a godlike figure, a symbol of good governance, which definitely actually is not. So like I would like you to bring back the focus to the people, to the actual candidates and their characteristics, their quality, their education, who are selected.
Naman, I want you to do a basic homework, and I've known you for some time. I can, actually ask you to do it. I want you to go through the Aam Aadmi Party website of 2012. Just Google it.
Okay.
Kejriwal had said candidates will be taken on certain criteria.
Yeah.
Local residents through Mohalla Sabha will decide who the candidate will be. The candidate will have no criminal case against him or her. Third, they'll not be from any political party. They'll be people who worked in India against corruption. People with strong RTI background. I can name all the MLAs in Aam Aadmi Party. Most of them have got criminal cases.
So,
Most of them are from
yes,
Congress
yes.
and BJP.
Okay.
Yes.
That gives me the idea for the next podcast, sir. Why don't we actually dismantle their candidates one by one, their history, their background, and shift the focus of the public?
No. See, I'll tell you, our idea is not to get personalized. Our idea is the way he's treated the people of Delhi. That needs to be exposed. One criminal MLA from Aam Aadmi Party or one Congress left out joining the Aam Aadmi Party or one BJP wannabe who's become an MLA is not a fight. Our fight is the way he's fooled the people of Delhi. People went to Kejriwal for Swaraj Bill. What have they got? People went to him that there'll be no corruption. What have they got? DTC purchase is a single case of corruption against him. Today an FIR can be registered. I fail to understand why is the LG not taking action against him? There are so many scams, but no one is taking action because at times he suits the opposition. He suits the incumbent central government very well. He knows how to use them to fight against the Congress. So their relationship is actually very, very convenient. So, all these MLAs who are part of Kejriwal's team, most of them were in the Congress or Bharatiya Janata Party. But our fight is not with those. Our fight is with the way he's misled the people of Delhi. That entire Aam Aadmi campaign, ki main hu Aam Aadmi. Where is the Aam Aadmi today? A person staying in a 2-acre bungalow with a 9 crore rupees swimming pool cannot be Aam Aadmi Party. A person who's got 8 cars around him with security guard cannot be an Aam Aadmi Party. A person who travels business class to America cannot be an Aam Aadmi Party. A person who's using a very good mobile phone cannot be an Aam Aadmi Party. A person who's completely changed as a person from a WagonR to a sports car cannot be Aam Aadmi Party. So the Aam Aadmi Party people voted was a person with a muffler and a WagonR. If they knew Kejriwal would be more about free pani and not Lokpal, they wouldn't have voted for him. So today he's driving a beautiful car. I don't mind. I want my chief minister to drive a good car. But then that is not what he had projected himself to be.
So that kind of gives a doubt on the authenticity or the credibility of the person in terms of his honesty or maybe the trust.
He's an opportunist. He went to Varanasi to fight against Mr. Modi and he said, if I lose in Varanasi, I'll be stationed in Varanasi throughout my life. The day he lost his election, he came back to Delhi.
Right.
So I fail to understand, how can you trust Mr. Arvind Kejriwal?
So basically, in the next podcast, I would want to understand as a youth of this country, as an educated youth, the narrative that when we say Aam Aadmi Party is actually helping people are happy. People are happy, or say they are perceivably happy because they think that if I earn 15,000, 2,000 rupees of my electricity is getting saved, 3,000 or maybe 200, 300 of my water is getting saved. So in the next episode, I would like you to burst that perception, as in what are the long-term harms that Delhi is going to have continuing this particular party or this particular system, this particular government. What is your projection? What is the future of Delhi if Aam Aadmi Party continues? as compared to the short-term benefits or the instant gratification that people see for now. So
True. We'll do that.
thank you, sir. Thank you so much for your time. And as a youth, I'm learning a lot from you. So, guys, I have learned like anything. And so, my political mentor, my leadership mentor, or anything, I would say I started with Abhishek Dutt, sir. And I was lucky to have him as the first person I met in politics. That's why I have such a good perception about politics and the confidence that we can actually create a change in the world. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Take care, Naman. God bless. Bye.
Thank you.